Hello and welcome to another edition of USISPF Explains, and we're delighted to be joined here by USISPF President and CEO Dr. Mukesh Aghi. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Dr. Aghi. We're just days away from a historic state visit by Prime Minister Modi. He's made many such visits, but why is this one extra special?
Well, I think one is this is his first state visit. That's one. Two, will be speaking to the joint session of the Congress. It'll be the second time he'll be speaking. But more important is the position of two democracies, their economy, the geopolitics which is taking place, has an impact on some of the issues which are going to be discussed on the table. It would be defense, it would be economic, it would be technology, it would be basically issues on visas. So I think there is a momentum between the two countries. There is a momentum on the trade side. There's a momentum on geopolitics side. There's a momentum on defense cooperation. And so you see a lot happening which will have an impact, a pivotal impact for the next 20 years of this relationship.
You know, this visit, you just touched on some of the commercial relations aspect, the trade aspect, especially from the focus from Washington, New Delhi. The focus has been to rebuild resilient new supply chains in the post-pandemic. They're working on critical and emerging technology, climate, and a possible new jet engines deal. What is the significance of this deal, particularly for both India and the United States?
Well, you have to understand there is a mutual dependence on critical supply chain. For example, 30% of the generic drugs which US consumes, they come from India, but 70% of the API for those drugs for India, which comes from India, comes from China. So you need to de-risk that and make that supply chain more resilient. India is looking at a self-sufficiency in defense area, and its civilian aircraft market is growing 20% on an annual basis. So it's looking for manufacture of jet engines. And if the GE deal gets announced, India will be the fifth country in the world which will be making hot jet engines for planes. So I think there are a lot of discussions taking place, but more important, I strongly believe that what the Prime Minister said in the last joint session, we need to overcome the hesitation of history. And I think this is a proof that we are overcoming the hesitation of history.
Yeah, I mean, hesitations of history was such a term from back in the day, and now India and the United States, as you said before, have to be the most critical strategic partnership of the 21st century. And one of those is towards the Quad and a free and open Indo-Pacific. Why has this region become so important in the last 2 decades from, say, back in the day when we spoke about the Atlantic Ocean or just the Pacific Ocean separately?
Well, you have to understand the rise of China and assertiveness of China basically has sent a message that the Asia Pacific is their sphere of influence. So that means China will want to be dominant nation in that region itself. And whereas a lot of countries are saying, hey, we want to be equal partner. We don't want to be dominated by one country. And so they are looking at US as a partner to resist that dominance. And that's why that region has become much more critical.
Prime Minister Modi now meets President Biden, the third United States president he's met since coming into office, meeting President Obama, President Trump. It just shows that the relationship is truly bipartisan, very different presidential figures. And in India and United States partnership is apolitical, it's truly bipartisan, and irrespective of who's in power, this relationship is between two democracies for the ages.
No, that's correct. You have a prime minister who got along well with President Obama, President Trump, and now President Biden. And he seems to build a personal rapport with all these leaders itself. And that's important to understand, because while geopolitically things are more aligned between two countries, that leadership to leadership relationships do matter. But more important is there is a people to people relationship. You have approximately 5 million Indian Americans, one of the most affluent minority group itself, one of the most educated. They are in every aspect of the society, from business to startups, from technology to academia. They play a very pivotal role in trying to drive this relationship. So I think basically the value system, the principle of running a country from a democratic perspective are the same. So there's a level of comfort. And so from that perspective, I see this relationship going deeper, broader, and much further.
Well, we look forward to speaking more with you when the state visit happens. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.